Welcome to the Garage Gym. This is the Queer Strength Coach headquarters. I'm gonna be shooting more long form content from this location because it's great to be able to shoot from the gym I normally work out at, but it's a public space. It is easy to get, really short clips, but in order to get these longer, I think more in-depth, it's easier to do it from my garage gym. A lot of this is just gonna be like off the cuff, where I will be sharing my training philosophy, how I work with clients, and obviously you'll see how I approach different workouts, different sessions, and stuff like that. As we go through this, if you have any questions, you can drop them in the comments below. If you have specific topics you want me to explore, different challenges you're facing in the gym. So without further ado, today we're going to be doing an upper body push session to be specific. I actually don't know what my workout is, so I'm gonna look that up. So I actually work with a coach. His name is Matt Domney. He is out of Houston, but he is now up in St. Louis. He's building a gym. He's with the Compound Performance Group. And I hired him after I went through a continuing ed course with N1 Training up in Boulder, Colorado. Long story short, got linked up with Matt and have worked with him mainly with the goals being just to implement a lot of the stuff I learned through N1, off-board programming for myself so I could focus on growing my own practice and focus on my own clients. Just continue to grow and develop from like a muscle perspective. I just wanted to get bigger. And over the last 2 years, we've succeeded. I've definitely grown, I think about 10 to 15 pounds, give or take. Definition has gone up considerably. So composition wise, I haven't done formal tracking during this time, but numbers across the board have gone up in all major lifts. I feel better in my own skin. So it is one of those things of you can measure a few things when it comes to change. You can focus on the process or you can focus on outcomes. And obviously a lot of people will jump to outcomes first. I want to have a six pack. I want to be more toned. I want to lose weight. I want to gain 5 pounds of muscle. And so we can measure those outcomes by whether or not we achieve those. What are we measuring along the way to ensure that we're even headed in the right direction? Because a lot of this stuff does take time. It takes consistency. It takes showing up to the gym. So how do we reassure ourselves when we're can't see the forest for the trees? And when I use body composition as a goal, changing body composition, I want to measure results in the gym. So are numbers going up in my weights each week or each month? Am I improving the amount of reps that I'm moving that weight for, the amount of sets I'm moving it for? Are general qualities in training going up? Then you can also measure, obviously, in order to get or grow muscle, you need to sleep a certain amount per night. So are you sleeping, 6 to 8 hours a night? You want to aim for the top end of that and even more if you can. Are you moving every day? So if you want to show the muscle or you want to drop fat or you want to just gain muscle, you need a good aerobic system to support that. Daily movement, in the form of walks, light cardio, something like that can be really helpful. And then training, are you resistance training? Are you even doing that consistently every week? 2 to 3 times is, I think, a good start for most people. I would definitely do more than once if I could. Otherwise, you're putting a lot of eggs in that one basket. But I don't think you need to go past 4 training sessions a week. If you're training really hard, which you should be, go into the gym, leave it in there, move on with the rest of your life because you got a lot of other things to focus on. So outside of the resistance training, movement, sleep, there's nutrition. Minimally processed whole foods, veggies, starches, got to get the carbs so that you can have the energy to perform these contractions when you are lifting weights. And then drinking enough water, right? So like I said, we'll explore all of that, but those 4 legs of the stool really support growth. And then, just maintaining that long term is what I find to be missing in this process for a lot of people. So we have upper body day. It's an upper body push day. I'm in the middle of a tension block, so you can call it accumulation. So we got dips, kind of accessories. So it's fun to do in this workout or in this gym space because I have all the gym equipment here. I don't have to fight anyone for it. And it's why I recommend you have like at least a set of dumbbells or something like that. Like I use a stack like this because this goes from 10 pounds if you're just using the handles, all the way up to 90 pounds if you use all of this weight down here. So you may not use that. They come in, different sets, but this is always worth it. Otherwise, if you're just starting out and you're just trying to move, like just grabbing a set of dumbbells can be helpful. Because at the end of the day, start small. Like don't feel like everything has to be perfect before you start, because that's probably the biggest thing holding you back. So anyways, without further ado, I'm gonna jump on the bike, get about a 5-minute warm up, and then we're gonna jump into our dips. I usually spend about 5 minutes warming up on the bike because you don't need to overthink warm up. All you're trying to do is get your core temperature up, trying to increase your heart rate, get breathing above just that baseline that we're usually at most of the day. Either something like a rower, treadmill, I'll just go on a walk, Stairmaster. My favorite is the assault bike because I'm gonna use my arms and my legs at the same time. So I'm pushing and pulling on the handles, kind of waking up the muscles in the upper body, especially on a day like today. That's super helpful, and just get my legs going. So what I normally tell folks when they are warming up, try to just breathe through your nose, because what that's gonna do is slow you down, keep you at a pace that is manageable. So, you can't go super hard and breathe through your nose. I mean, unless you are a stud like that. So you do this 5 minutes, breathe nice and easy, in and out through the nose, play around with different hand positions. You can also go a few rounds just using the arms, just kind of waking everything up in the upper body. Biggest thing is when I'm in warm up, what I try to do is really focus on the session I'm about to have. Stay off the phone. We're on the screens so much throughout our weeks. So really focus on what are the exercises you're trying to get done. It'll help you save time in the gym. Bringing that focus to your exercises means the effort will be higher. And if you train in a public gym space, there's nothing worse than, needing a piece of equipment and someone is just like sitting on it and is just on their phone. So just make sure you're constantly moving through the session. You show up, you put in the work, get it done, check all the boxes off and head out. Like we don't need to spend more time in that space than we need to. All right, just finished up 5 minutes on the bike. My shoulders are feeling pretty good today. Past couple weeks, having a little bit of shoulder pain and like neck pain. I don't know if it was like from lots of yoga or just from doing a lot of like this kind of training. But big thing is over the last couple weeks, I did not stop training. I didn't, other than maybe find some different positions or like different machines to use. Cause one of the machines I realized was like cranking my head forward and just putting a ton of tension like down here. And so what I did was just switch a different machine, laid me down a little bit flatter. So the biggest thing with training is you'll find that a lot of times like the aches, the nags, like the nagging, like kind of like, pain that we're like, should I work out today? Like, is this a good pain, bad pain? Like if you're not really sure, then what you can try is just reducing the amount of weight you use. You can go and try like finding different ways to support that weight. So if something is resting on your shoulders and that's like hurting here, what you can try and do is just hold it down by your sides. So biggest thing is just like try to find ways to keep moving. Don't back off in training. I know I'm happy that I like kept showing up and kept pushing, and I think easier for someone who works in this field to say that and like do that, but ask questions. Like if you don't know specifically what to do, reach out to folks that you trust, build that network, because your health is your responsibility. And these things aren't always gonna just resolve by taking time off. And sometimes the last thing you really wanna do is pause your progress, especially with stuff like resistance training if you're on a roll. Anyways, we're gonna focus back on training. First exercise are dips. We're doing a max effort set, so just doing as many reps as possible. So what I'll do is I'll warm up, hit a few, but yeah, we'll try that and see how it goes. I feel like dips are great for building the chest. And I know like building the chest is really a big goal, especially for guys. So dips are good. The big thing you gotta work on especially if you're like on the more mobile side, and you can move really easy through your shoulders, is maintaining tension through that bar, like pushing down through the bar, not letting the shoulders shrug. I've had trouble in the past where I have let the shoulders move around a little too much, and I can sustain doing dips in a program for a little bit. I think 2 months in programming is about my max before I have to like switch out and just give those shoulders a break. And I'll just switch to like free weights, machines, something like that. But, just pay attention to your body. Sometimes people can keep certain exercises in their program for a really, really long time, and that may be you. But this is to say it sometimes is appropriate to cycle things out, give your body rest, then come back to them. So what we're gonna shoot for is 16 reps on this set. Baby. We're gonna roll that back, see how it looked, jump back in for next. I think a lot of people are gonna be like, why just one set? A lot of times I think we overdo the amount of volume in training, volume for the sake of volume, and just to feel like we got a good workout is why folks head in that direction. One thing I've been exploring recently with my own clients is higher intensity sets. So just trying to give it your all in like 1, 2, or maybe even 3 sets, and just leaving it on the floor, right? And it's not to say like we are sacrificing form, using weight that's too heavy, using weight that's too light to try and just go for more reps. We want to try to make sure that we meet that intersection of doability. So can we do this? But also, is this challenging us enough to help push us forward? If it's too challenging, then it's going to just crush us. If it is too doable, then it's going to be too easy. So got to meet that middle. So next few exercises are all shoulder or upper body accessories, some cross body lateral raises. So we're gonna train at the lengthened position here. So that just means starting in a more stretched position. Then we'll do some standing lateral raises. So that trains the shoulder, challenges it more in the short position at the top. All you gotta know is just train your muscles in the challenging positions on both ends of the spectrum. So like a leg extension, where it's hardest at the top, where you're shortest. Something like a hack squat is going to train more of like a lengthened position of the muscle. So it's most challenging here at the bottom. And that's where like most of the load is gonna be placed on that muscle. So with the lateral raises, most of the load is gonna be placed in the lengthened position when I am laying down and reaching my hand across the body. And then it's going to play the hardest at the shortened position when I'm standing and reaching my hands out to the sides. So we'll hit that and you can check out a couple sets. My 5th week of this cycle and I'm a little burnt. But by the end of a cycle, a period of time where you're doing a select rotation of exercises or workouts, you should be feeling a little rough. You should be feeling a little maybe achy, fatigued, like you need recovery. And that's generally a good time to change the exercises that you're putting into your program. Yeah, something to think about. Finished my first set at 20. I'm gonna go up to 25 pounds. I use RPE to measure intensity, so rating of perceived exertion. It's like a 1 to 10 scale, 10 being you failed at the end. And so I was probably right around like a 6 or a 7. What I'm gonna do is add more weight. What I'm thinking about doing is lifting straight up to the roof, try to lead with my elbow. It's a tricky move. I feel like it's one of those where it's easy to go too heavy, especially with shoulders. It's a relatively small muscle group. So you have to avoid, I probably even moved a little, almost too much on that last round, but that's why it's a practice. You know, a lot of this is just a movement practice. So you're practicing these movements over and over. That's why it helps not to switch exercises too frequently. So I'll hit this next set. As you can tell, I'm a little bit out of breath. That's always a good sign. It means you're pushing the weight. I also talked a little bit in that set. But what I've seen in the gym is, especially on single-sided exercises, folks finish, they don't need rest. They just jump right into the next side. They finish that, they jump right back into the first side. So if you're not pushing the weight, if it's not challenging you, if you don't need rest, then you're probably spinning your wheels in the gym. That may be why you're not seeing the growth that you want to see. So push the weight, push the intensity, use that RPE, you know, north of 7, 7 to 8 is like the sweet spot, 8 to 9, push in there. Anyways, hitting this next side. Okay, I'm gonna take about another minute and a half rest, hit my next set, jump back in, standing lateral raises. We're gonna do our standing lateral raises. And this is a movement that I've grown to like. It's a movement that I did not like for a long time because it's one where I don't know if I'm doing this right, or if I don't know if what I'm doing is actually what I'm supposed to be doing. And I hear that a lot when folks do this. So we're gonna break that down. It's really easy to go too heavy, but it's also really easy to not go heavy enough, because if you're using a weight that's too light, then what you're gonna be able to do is get this dumbbell going all over the place. And so when we think about what we're trying to train, it's like our middle delt, it starts in a lengthened position. We were laying sideways, having it reach across, so it started even longer, but now it's down by our sides. So what we're really gonna challenge is to shorten and lift our hands up, because this muscle is getting shorter to lift the weight. And once we get up here, it's like, it's got as short as it will go. And if we start to lift any higher, then we're using other muscles around it. So it can help you to understand like what you're trying to hit and where the range of motion stops being, impactful or helpful. So if I'm using weights that are too light, I can, go all over the place with this and hit whatever. Then if I can go in too heavy, there's no risk, because I'll get them about this far off my hip and then they'll just go straight back down. So I'm gonna warm up with some 25s. We'll play around with some 35s today, see what it feels like. It's another move. I think I lift or initiate from the elbow. Chest is up tall, leaning forward. And I just try and reach my arms out to about 10 and 2 o'clock. So slightly in front of my body. This is kind of a natural reach for the arm. If you start going too far in front, start playing around with like your front delts. Obviously, if you pull your arm behind you, you're gonna use your rear delts. So middle delts, try and reach out away from the middle in that V shape. So I do my first set from the side and you can see where I'm reaching. This next weight is gonna be challenging. So here we go. This is gonna be easier for you to see what muscle we're hitting too. So start up tall, lean forward. Ooh. Dude, this is also a movement where it can really help to do in front of a mirror and then also film yourself while you're doing it, so that I'm also like trying to find the middle. So it can help to see what you look like when you move. So if you want to try and fix your form like in the moment, you can oftentimes see if you're doing something wrong. Like if something looks funny, it's probably maybe needs correcting. So use a mirror, use your phone, set it up. You don't even have to use a tripod. You can just like prop your water bottle on the ground, lean your phone against it, hit record, That's just going to be easier to see what things look like. Next, we got some tricep work. So we're gonna hit some Samurai tricep extensions. Cable machines, I think, are the most sought after piece of equipment in the gym. Like, that's what's gonna get used the most. If you need a cable machine in your workout, I recommend know what you're doing, like have an idea of what you're doing when you approach the cable machine, be efficient. If there's like 2 stacks and you can just use one, then just use one, and that way you open the other one for someone else. Your experience at the gym is going to be vastly improved if you show up and you own your space, you're efficient with it, you're flexible, you let other people work in. You're not a pushover, but you're just respectful of other people's time, because we all got places to be. So with a Samurai tricep extension, this is another exercise. You don't need to go super duper heavy. And by this point in the workout, I'm pretty warmed up. So what I do here is have this cable right about hip height. I'm gonna move to the opposite side of it, so it's pulling from across my body, from behind my back. And then all I'm doing is extending, straightening out my elbow, and then lowering this back down. So push. If you're in the right position, this shouldn't hurt the shoulder at all. Shouldn't feel like you're jamming anything. What you're going for is this big stretch here at the bottom, so really bend the elbow and push up against that weight. Squeeze as hard as you can on that ball. Nice. Sweet. Give a little rest, hit the other side. What's cool is you can use it on the same handle. It's on my right side. I'm using my left arm. That's where I want to be. So I press up. So like we were talking earlier, this is gonna train more like a lengthened position for the tricep. Something that would train more of a shortened position would be having the hand down by my side, really squeezing that tricep to get the arm down. Either way, I gotta shorten to move that weight. Keep that shoulder packed down. Push the accessories. Make sure you are working the accessories. This is a easy exercise. It's like a small exercise. But these are the ones that people put at the end of their workout. They skip them or they go too light. And then they wonder like, I want my arms to look bigger, but I skip all my bicep curls or I skip all my tricep extensions. Please explain why. Low risk, super high reward. So push, push, push the intensity and the weight will come. I forget who said this. I'll look it up. But you don't add weight to get stronger. You get stronger and then add weight. Approach it from that perspective. It's gonna take longer than you think. All of this does, all good things do. But slow and steady wins the race. Just keep showing up, keep chipping away at it, and the weight will come. Get in love with the process and you'll achieve those outcomes long-term and then some, tenfold, because you'll be able to keep it up. All we got left are skull crushers. They're an exercise you can do in a lot of gyms. To work the triceps, you just bend the elbow and extend. You're pushing weight away from you, pushing weight away. That's stretching the muscle out and then shortening it. And then same thing with the bicep. Stretch it out by going in the opposite direction. So opposite, shorten here, stretch here, shorten here, you stretch here. It makes arm training easy when you start to think of it in those terms. I like these. Push the hands up to the roof. Hands come down by the side, squeeze it back up. Keep the elbows pointing up to the roof. Oh, that was rough. Ugh. So we're gonna go lighter on that. And that's the thing, you're gonna choose weight that's too heavy sometimes. Got dicey on that last rep, and that's fine. I mean, part of the thing with training is you wanna safely push your body to a place where it's having to struggle, where it's having to manage its shit under stress, where it's like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get this done. If I wasn't gonna get that up, I would have just dropped the weights. It's fine. The weights are gonna be okay. If you gotta bail, you gotta bail. If you gotta drop the weight, you gotta drop the weight. Make sure if you think you're going to have to bail, that no one's around you, let folks know. And heavy, you can always go. But again, if it's so light that you're just like, then you're also not gonna see the growth that you wanna see. So it's always about finding that like happy balance. I'm gonna lighten the load, I'm gonna catch my breath, and I'm gonna hit this next set. Really focus on keeping my elbows close to the center of my body. I don't want them to splay out to the sides. Bend the elbows, frame my head with the weights, extend back up. Bend the elbows, extend back up. Goal is 10 reps here. Proud chest, reach the weights up through the roof. Even as I bend the elbows, I'm thinking about pointing my elbows up, reaching them up through the ceiling. Big squeeze. Got it. Oh shit. Awesome, got a good workout in. I'm gonna hit another chest exercise tomorrow because I'll head to a gym that has a Smith machine. So I'm gonna do that for my upper pecs. Outside of that, relatively short workout, finishing under an hour. Big thing is when you're thinking about your goals of building muscle, show up to the gym, push the effort. If you're finishing exercises like skull crushers just to get them done, check the box off, you're not having to rest but 30 seconds between sets, then you need to go up in weight. You need to challenge yourself and push yourself on the intensity side. More volume, more exercises is probably just gonna end up wasting more time and energy than actually help you push the needle forward and grow muscle tissue. So think back to the 4 legs of the stool: sleep, movement, training, eating. We'll get into all that stuff in future episodes. If you found this helpful, if you enjoyed this, give it a like, give it a subscribe. If you got questions, if you want specific topics covered in these videos, drop them below, get the word out, and we'll see you later.